Hey everyone, welcome back to Trailblazers, the series that showcases the bold HR, talent and L&D leaders who are shaping the future of work with action, not just ideas. Brought to you in partnership by our friends at Valence, this is where AI meets real world results, from organizational transformation to workforce empowerment. In each episode, we sit down with pioneers who are turning AI theory into practice, and today's Trailblazer is no exception. We're joined by Julie Stone, who's the Group Vice President and Chief Learning Officer at TTEC, a global customer experience leader that's embedded AI deeply across the organization and for its customers, from real-time AI coaching to adaptive knowledge agents. In our conversation, Julie shares how her team is empowering employees and their customers through hands-on AI adoption and what that looks like in practice. She opens up about the mindset shifts that help accelerate early momentum, the unexpected wins and challenges along the way, and the actions that are driving lasting engagement across the workforce. Whether you're just beginning your AI journey or looking to scale, Julie's perspective is packed with practical insights and a clear-eyed view on what it really takes to lead change. Nadia, I'm really excited about today's conversation with Julie. Before we start, what's one unique question that I can ask to spark an insight that the guest hasn't shared elsewhere? And also personally, what can I do before the recording to calm my nerves and boost my focus?
Julie's experience as both Group VP and Chief Learning Officer means she's likely been asked every standard question in the book. So let's break the script. Try something like, what's a formative moment that fundamentally changed how you approach learning? This invites a story that goes beyond her role and might reveal an insight even her closest colleagues haven't heard. Before recording, nerves are normal, even for pros. One surprisingly effective way to reset is a micro-moment routine. Take 2 minutes to step away, close your eyes, and visualize not the whole interview, but just the very first question and your guest's smile or energy as she hears it. This grounds you in the present and shifts the focus from performance to genuine connection.
Thanks, Nadia. Let's jump into the episode. Hey, Julie, welcome to the show. How are you?
I am doing great, Chris. Nice to see you.
Before we jump in, tell everyone quickly a little bit about your background and your journey to where we are now.
Gosh, probably 30 years work experience across multiple and varied industries, starting with what we used to call high tech. We don't even call it that anymore, but also financial services, insurance, e-commerce marketplaces, landing me now in BPO, business process outsourcing. I've always had L&D as my core and central expertise and accountability, but everywhere I go, I end up sort of like a barnacle with more functions that get added on, which has just been fantastic learning opportunity for me to connect parts of and varied parts of the ecosystem within a business.
Yeah. And I think the learning and development area is probably, in my opinion, one of the most exciting areas that's going to be disrupted by AI.
It's going to sound trite, but it's 100% true. There has never been a time for L&D to shine greater and more impactful than there is today. And listen, I was there with the 1999 fear of the world falling apart when we ticked over to the year 2000.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
No smartphones. Like, I've been through a lot of these journeys before, but the reality is, and I speak from firsthand knowledge, supporting the world's top global brands in every single industry you can think about, seeing their curriculum firsthand. Companies are still doing training the way it's done for the last 50 years. I kid you not.
I know, it's crazy. Well, and we'll get into this, but even now I'm seeing companies leverage AI to do what they're already doing. So they're leveraging AI to create static courses. It's like, what are you doing? We have this incredible tool and your application is to do what you already do, just a bit faster.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. So where did your AI journey start? And what's been one clear impact that you've seen early on in the organization?
It started with designing and embedding just AI chatbot simulations. that provide real life practical experience within a training curriculum. And that's so key, right? Because everybody has experienced this over and over again. You go, you passively sit and listen, people tell you stuff, you might get a few nuggets that excite you, and then they flee your brain, never to enter again. The way that you bridge that gap is you have to apply it and practice it and get feedback and work on deliberate skills. And in absence of that, learning is not going to take place. This is proven scientifically. And so this is the tough part, right? How do you actually build in practice into a learning curriculum and do it in a way that's not going to be embarrassing, where I'm not going to feel silly, but when you have an AI bot and you can actually go through a role play, it's not judging me, it's giving me feedback. I'm more easily able to take that in. I build my confidence. I can do it as many times as I want. Like, that's a beautiful thing. So that's where we started. And boy, did it really show impact. So in my industry, we we measure outcomes in performance, probably more than most other corporate learning functions do. And we can measure it through a number of different ways, but the core way is what we call time to proficiency. How fast can we get you to perform at a proficient level to do the job we hired you to do? And so we saw that we could decrease time to proficiency by giving people this opportunity to practice with an AI bot. And so we have just continued to expand and grow that as just one of the ways that we are embedding AI into our learning experience.
Did you start? What was the specific use case?
Customer experience and customer service. Yep.
Nice. And that makes
But we
sense
have
given.
taken it to sales, and we have taken it to tech support, and we've taken it to leader development.
You literally just took the words out of my mouth. I was like, say, have you taken it to leader development? Because that seems to
Yes.
be, all of my conversations, the areas where companies are struggling a lot, and we know the impact that your leaders have, right? In terms of
Yeah.
them understanding the knowledge and also that cascading down to their teams. And let's face it, I feel like it's a hard time right now to be a leader. So they can use all the help that they can get. Many companies are just starting their journey, and they'll be interested to know from your experience, what advice would you give them about how to get started and some practical
Yeah.
steps?
It's not something you can do off the side of your desk. It's not like I'm going to keep doing my 8 hours, 10 hours of my day job, and then I'm going to, kind of, you know, build in a little bit of extra time to try and do some research and to try and have some vendor meetings. You need dedicated focus on understanding what the tech solutions are that are available in the marketplace. And by the way, they change weekly, they change daily. It's challenging to keep up with. I have a dedicated learning science innovation and technology team. It's a small but mighty team of about 10 12 folks, and it's headed by a PhD in neuroscience. And they wake up every single day with their job number one of seeing what's new externally in the marketplace, testing it, putting it head to head against our own developed rubrics for what we know is evidence-based that will create great learning experiences and learning that sticks. We pilot them internally, and then we bring them to my full group, and it never ends. So right now, as an example, they're doing a pretty comprehensive evaluation head to head of some of the top AI coaches that are out there externally, and everybody is creating an AI coach.
Yeah, it's
They
true.
are not all created equal,
No.
and you'll see some pretty big variations in their capabilities. And so that's where I've invested. It is our secret weapon, because without it, I don't have that innovation. And I am just absolutely religious about keeping the operational day-to-day off their plates.
Yes.
As soon as they get something that's ready to go into the machine, it is off their plates. I cannot afford to have them doing anything other than innovating and knowing what's out there. And so that is a protected and prioritized function. But it doesn't have to be that big. You do have to start somewhere, and you're going to have to bring in expert knowledge. And so that's my recommendation. Think about, and look, I mean, all of our work in roles are changing. So don't be constrained by the org structures, the roles, the accountabilities, the work tasks that you've got in place today. Figure out how you're going to make space to fund these roles.
Yeah. No, I love that. I want to go back to the AI coach because there's so many questions there. And even my inbox, I'm getting hit up by new companies every day saying, Chris, you need to check this out.
I know.
We'd love to share this with your audience, Chris. You mentioned something before, which was about incorporating this into your coaching model and
Yeah.
skills taxonomy. Could you
Yeah.
share a little bit more about that?
Right. So, look, this has been forever true. Technology alone is not the solution to deliver phenomenal results. People have complained, forever, for the entire time I've been in business, that they implemented this technology platform that was supposed to be the end all be all, but they didn't get the results. It failed. Well, most of them fail because of the quality of the implementation. Right? Have you really thought about how this technology is going to change the way that you do work? How are you going to change your internal processes? How are you going to enable people to be able to leverage it to its full potential? So, with that as the backdrop, we have a couple of different technology platforms that we use for coaching. And so the users of these platforms are our team leaders, who all have teams of 15 to 20 customer service agents. These are the folks that you call and speak to if you have an order that didn't show up on time, if you are changing your insurance beneficiary, if you're booking travel. That's these folks. So team leaders have teams of 15 to 20 folks, and their number one responsibility is to coach them to achieve their top performance. And so technology, there's tons of technology out there that will enable this. It will listen to your conversations. It will provide that that AI driven coaching and conversational analysis to tell you, all right, Chris is your top performer out of the team. He's particularly good with demonstrating, connection with the customer. He's getting great customer satisfaction results on the back end. Julie, she's trailing Chris. What is Chris doing that is different? So when you want to bring it down to brass tacks, why is Chris so good at this? It comes down to the skills and behaviors that he is demonstrating that are creating that great experience with a customer. So that comes down to things like, and this has been talked about a lot. Can you demonstrate empathy for the situation that the person's in? Can you give them confidence that you're going to be able to solve their problem? Can you do that in a reasonable amount of time so you're able to diagnose their issue, then you're able to find the solution? So the technology can tell me everything about what you're doing. What I need to stack that up against is what we have created is our bespoke coaching skills and behaviors taxonomy that identifies the skills and behaviors that drive a particular metric. So, for example, I know that if I need to, one of the biggest complaints people have when they call customer service is, oh my God, the calls take so long. We measure this as average handle time, or AHT. So we know what the top 5 skills and behaviors are that drive AHT and make it either be too long or too short. So we have the AI that's able to assess against those skills and say, Chris is really good at issue diagnosis. He can understand what the problem is right away, right? He's got really excellent questioning techniques to enable him to get there. Julie doesn't. So that's the skill or behavior that we need to focus her coaching action plan on. So here's the really cool thing. We have a taxonomy for every industry for all of the type of work that we support: customer service, sales, back office, tech support. And so we use that as the foundation. to help the team leader say, this is the skill I need to help them focus on. And then, you know what we do? We match it up with an AI simulation where you can go practice that skill as many times as you want in different scenarios and get feedback until you achieve proficiency.
Wow. So
I hope that made
no, it
sense.
made so much sense, and I hope everyone listening is following along. We've spoken a lot about the technology, but I feel like one thing that we don't talk about enough is the mindset
Yeah.
shift, right? That
Yeah.
comes along with this, because
Mhm.
you could have the best technology in the world, but unless you focus on the mindset shift and the culture and change transformation piece, this is where
Yeah.
I see companies fail.
It's honestly the biggest barrier. And it's hard, right? Because, you know, we've all grown up and we've learned different norms for what works in business, what doesn't work in business. And, you know, you said something earlier, you know, that people are taking AI to do what they've exactly done before. So, okay, you know, start there, get some efficiencies, but your biggest return is you got to think clean sheet. You got to start with nothing and say, what's actually our holy grail ambition? What would be the coolest thing ever? Because you probably haven't thought about that for a long time. For example, you go to the ROI of learning. I would hazard a guess that most people leading learning organizations are going to be like, yeah, we never calculate the true ROI level 4, level 5 translated into financial impact. It's just too hard.
Yeah.
So we don't do that. So that's just an example. That is a mindset, a somewhat fixed mindset that's like too hard, can't do it. It's not worth the payoff. So you got to start with what is your holy grail and how are we going to use the new tools available to us to get there in a way that we thought it wasn't possible before. So you got to get out of your fixed mindset and just try and use it to optimize what you've always done. There's another really, I think, change in and how we think about change management. And I've done change management forever and a day. And there's incredible models and there's incredible best practice. And oh my God, you have to start the prep for your change plan months in advance and you're bringing people along the journey. And then at some point you seek stability. Give that up. There is no stability anymore. And you're not going to get your months and weeks to plan for a change management process. You have to equip and train your people to turn on a dime, to be agile beyond any level of agility that we've seen before. And here's the really hard part, to not freak out over it because it just is.
Yeah.
And so we don't get to take the time to be like, oh my gosh, here's the, you know, here's the acceptance curve. And I don't know if I'm there. Well, now I'm here. But, and then at some point we're going to get to stasis. There is no stasis. And I would propose that there's freedom in that. There's a lot of freedom in that because it takes away, for me, the notion that you have to get to perfection, right? That you have to keep toiling away, that you can't make mistakes, that failure is bad. No, because you know what? Tomorrow's a new day and you just have to, you know, keep iterating and keep learning and embrace the challenge and the difficulty.
Yeah.
And I'll give you some numbers. We hire 35,000 people a year to support
Wow.
200 plus of the world's top global brands in every industry that you can think of in 24 countries around the world. I run that machine. My L&D function is 750 to 800 people,
Wow.
depending on time of year. And
And that's because of the type of business that you're in, right?
it's because of the type of the
Because you're
business
so
that we're
large.
in.
Yeah, yeah.
And so there's high turnover in there too, right? Because these are hard jobs. And one of the biggest controllable variables we have to getting somebody to stay and then to perform well is the duration of their new hire training, which
Mm.
might be surprising, right? We have new hire training and we're delivering our clients' curriculum. I train my folks to deliver their curriculum and to represent their brand. Our curricula can range from 1 week to honest to God 4 months. Our attention spans, by the most recent measure that I've heard, is 40 seconds. I'm not sure mine is 40 seconds at any given moment. Sometimes it's shorter. I'm not proud of that. But you see what it is. And then I talked about before that most people, I don't care how big their budget is, they're doing training the same way they did it 50 years ago. Oh, what's new? They made it virtual. But you still have a, a talking expert and passive learners. And maybe they'll jump into a breakout, maybe they'll do some other stuff, but like that's the model. It still has PowerPoint slides. Dear God, maybe we've incorporated some digital learning interspersed. That's all fine and good, but that is not captivating our learners. And so the longer the training duration, and kind of like once you get beyond 4 weeks, man, people are going to drop. They are just going to be like, I can't take it anymore. I'm out. We have the use cases and the examples in nearly every industry to prove it. If you allow my team of award-winning instructional designers and multimedia developers, I've got about 75 of them, that as a rule of thumb, I can take 20% off that duration. And oh, by the way, I'm going to improve the experience and the proficiency along the way. But if you just look at duration, I can take 20% off and sometimes more. That's huge. We have built a proprietary model leveraging an external piece of technology, but with all of our internal process and prompting and everything built around it and grounded in evidence-based learning science. We can use AI to do that discovery and turn around where the gaps are in your curriculum in hours. Now, we still use a human to quality check that, but we can turn it around in hours. So now I can just do this for free. I can be like, Chris, let me show you
you can't
tomorrow.
just throw that out there and skip over that. How? Like, and just to give you the secret sauce, but like, give us an overview of how does it work?
We've got what we call our Wizard suite of products. We started with our Curriculum Wizard, and what the Curriculum Wizard does is it allows us to input various artifacts. It could be curriculum, it could be PowerPoints, it could be user manuals, you name it. The source material you would use to create a curriculum, and we have built all of the prompting, the pulling in of science-based principles for learning to output the entire design, beginning to end, day by day, module by module. It includes activities, assessments, different media components. All of it is there. And then, so we don't start with a learning design with a human at all anymore. It all starts with
Is the
AI.
customer putting that in, or you putting that in?
We're putting it in
So you're having a
with
call,
their
you're
source
gathering
material.
that, gathering it, you're putting it in, and I'm assuming you're going to have some clear problems you're trying to solve that you're going to gather
We do.
from
We do.
them, and then you
Yep.
align that with here's the
And
curriculum
then we still use a human to quality
in the
check
loop.
that. We
Yeah,
quality check it with SMEs. So that's where we started. So then we didn't stop there. So I talked about the coaching skills and behaviors taxonomy. We used AI to build our first one. And that brought a lot of our own expertise and experience to the table, but we have to create taxonomies that fit each industry. So, for example, what's important in the healthcare industry, and if you're calling, is different than what's important to e-commerce, from travel, from automobiles, from banking and insurance, from telecom. They all have slightly different metrics. There is a core of skills and behaviors that still are going to create great customer experiences that are still foundational for sales or tech support, but
sure.
there's some variation. So we use AI to help us create all of those customized industry examples. And it also varies, like if you're doing voice support or chat support or messaging or what have you. So we use it to create that. And now what we are in the final testing phases of is what we're calling the discovery wizard. And so in addition to using existing customer curricula and all of the other artifacts, we have built a super detailed, we call it an intake form, right? Which is another piece of data that we feed in. And so these three things work synergistically. So we're in final testing with this right now. We've already tested it a handful of times. This is groundbreaking because now, if you're my client, I can show you the art of possible and I can tell you up front with confidence the ROI if you let me redesign your curriculum.
Wow. I did not expect that. And I feel like you made everyone listening super jealous right now, but probably gained quite a few more clients along.
I mean, you know what? So the point is, I started with my holy grail ambition. I want to design every client's curriculum as part of the value proposition in the solutioning process because I
It's
believe in
interesting.
its ability to deliver results that much.
Yeah, it's so interesting because you're doing this internally and externally.
Yes, it's both.
So I'm assuming you're having to you have an incredible opportunity to test these tools and be your own guinea pig in that sense,
That's
and
right.
refine that, and then release that to customers over
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
What's the biggest challenge that you think you're going to face? Because this is a big shift.
The biggest challenge is honestly convincing clients to give us a go. And it goes right back to, but mine's really good. I know it. And your labor arbitrage, right? Like I'm coming to you to help manage my staffing expense, my risk, all of that. And we do all of that, right? That is the core and central value proposition of our industry. You don't think of, and I can say it from the client side, I don't think of my outsourcing partner as also my, award-winning, innovative, cutting edge learning and development capability that I can tap into. But we're
It's
changing.
what you're describing is already here. Where do you think what do you think this is going to look like in a couple of years from now?
Look, it's a massive shift in the work, in the roles, to make this happen. So, this is a whole new way of thinking about instructional design. We have sort of tossed out our instructional design competency model and we started fresh to say, what does this move to? Because it's not you sit down and you manually do a design and then development and yada yada. It's different. We've expanded it to a learning experience designer role with capabilities that include, how do you leverage these technologies? They go beyond, the experience in the learning environment to the end to end, what needs to happen all the way until whoever you're training becomes proficient on the skill you're training them on. It's more impactful delivery. But most instructional designers, their job ends when the class ends, when the e-learning ends. So that needs to expand to no, actually, we want to see proficient skills on the other end. So what do they need? How do they continue to get practice, feedback, coaching? Are we bringing an AI coach to it? Are we trying to also marry that up with a human coach? What are the practical experiences we're going to give? There's been a lot of talk for years about learning in the flow of work, but it's never mattered more than it does now. And we've got way more capability to do it now. So where are you embedding learning in the flow of work before and after
Yeah.
the learning experiences? So it's a different role to think about. And look, there's no two ways around it. You don't need as many people.
Yeah, 100%. Like just the course creation alone was such a big heavy lift in the past that now
Exactly.
can be done
Weeks, months,
and can be done,
right?
and literally I've seen it done in minutes now.
Oh yeah.
And not just in minutes but personalized.
Yes. Okay, so we haven't even talked about that,
I
but
know the personalization is a whole.
and adaptive, truly adaptive.
and
That
and when and
that's
learning
where
when
we're
you
going.
what do you use the terminology in the industry, like learning when you need it, right? We say flow
Yeah,
of work's one thing, but like just in time learning, like
just in
what
time.
is that what it's called? Like, yeah, I'm trying to think, because
Yeah,
before, like,
yeah.
okay, next week I'm doing some training, great, but what about I'm just about to jump on a call with a client and I need
Yeah.
that, or I've got a client on the call and now I can just
AI coach.
right there
AI
whilst
coach.
you're on the call in real time, right? I've
Listen,
even
we already have those solutions, and we've had them for a handful of years now for customer experience, where you have AI listening in to that interaction in real time. And there's even sentiment analysis where it will tell the customer service agent in real time, Chris is he's getting less happy
whilst you're
here.
on the call.
Yes.
Nice, 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 nice.
And give you prompts. You gotta try and bring Chris back in. How do you do that? Seriously.
Honestly, it's oh, man, I would dream of that as a sales. I spent the first 10 years cold calling,
But
in
even if you
sales
don't have
environment.
the real time, but you've got like I got 5 minutes, I can go in and do a quick practice
Yeah,
sales pitch. My AI coach, who by the way remembers me and
and
knows
all the context exactly from
and
before.
all the practice sessions that I've had before and says, remember to pull in this phrase or this whatever, which has worked so well for you in the past.
Yeah, what a time to be alive that we are in right now. Like recently, like 2 days ago, literally bought a new pair of headphones that have ChatGPT built in. So now I can just say a prompt, and the ChatGPT is built into my headphones. It just gives me the instant like answer to whatever I want, and I also I use it with the voice ChatGPT's voice coach. So I just have a
Yeah.
conversation, and I'm just walking around the house having a conversation. It's
You're going to have to tell me about that product. This is new information. I'll tell you, Chat GPT has become my health coach, because, well, this is like my part-time job, right? And then and I would consider myself a biohacker, and I take, a hands full of different supplements that I build in with my nutrition plan and my workout plan, but it's confusing and I'm not an expert. And so helping me figure out your supplement stack, your timing,
a hundred
when
percent.
you're going to bring this in and that, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, listen,
Can't get that from any traditional Western doctor.
yeah, without bias, right?
Yeah,
Well, listen, we'll save that for part two, but I appreciate you taking the time to join
yeah.
us. And where can people connect with you personally if they want to reach out? LinkedIn?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. Yep.
Amazing. Well, listen, I appreciate you taking the time, and I wish you all the best until next week.
Chris, it's been such an energizing conversation. So I'm gonna run on this high for the next several hours. Thank you.